good day. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's a live Q&A, and we are talking laundromats, and I'm super excited. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited because Dave and I have not done a Q&A in feels like an eternity, man. It feels like an eternity.
I was just thinking, since the last time we've done a Q&A, I've probably ran 0 miles. And you probably run several hundred miles since last time we did Q&A. But the way I look at it is combined, we've run several hundred miles.
That's right.
So, you know,
that's
team sport.
Team sport happening right now. I love
it.
And
I'm honored to be on here with a real legend, with Madison.
That's right.
I'm glad I don't have to keep schlepping along with Jordan. I get some real star power on the live Q&As. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we brought her on here, because I can't stand spending time with you. You can't stand spending time with me. So if we just individually spend time with Madison, we're all good.
We can pretend.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's going on, Madison?
Hey, what's up? It's a beautiful day here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Jordan.
Awesome.
I love it.
Dude,
nice.
Newscasters here.
Awesome. All you need is the fake wind in the background. The fake the fake wind and the fake rain. It's blowing me sideways, folks.
Yeah, we need a green screen on
it. Yeah, QN stop sign hitting me in the face.
That's right. Awesome. Well, hey, welcome everybody, and super excited you're here. Just in case you don't know, I'm Jordan. I run Laundromat Resource. We got Dave, Laundromat Millionaire Menz, who runs Laundromat Millionaire, and we've got Madison, who runs the world, here with us. We're here to talk all things laundromat. We want to answer all your questions that you've got, whether you are trying to get into this business for the first time or if you are an existing owner. We are glad to share our experience and also and knowledge and wisdom and all that stuff. But also a lot of times a bunch of legends show up in the chat in these things who can also help you. So if you have questions, now is the time to get them in the chat or start getting them in the chat. We'll start collecting them and start running through them. And while you're doing that, or maybe while other people are doing that, why don't you throw in the chat if you're at a place where you can. Madison putting the marketing degree to good use all over social media. That's right. She is.
Listen, I'm trying to do my mama proud and also get my money's worth in this degree. So thank you.
That's right. While we're doing this, if you're at a place where you can, why don't you throw in the chat where it is you're tuning in from? And while you're doing that, we'll go around and share where we're tuning in from. So Dave, where are you tuning in from?
I am in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is the tourist capital of Ohio.
Is that true?
No. Oh. Cincinnati is not really known for anything other than being almost in Kentucky.
Where would be maybe Cleveland?
Ohio.
Actually, Ohio has kind of a lot of.
Me? You know what they call Cleveland? Do you know what they call Cleveland?
I don't
Steak
know.
by the lake. That's what we call Ohio. That's Cleveland. Probably some people from Cleveland that probably. Yeah, I know. There you go. Greetings from Akron.
Oh, Akron. What do you got to say about Akron? Because Dr. Digital Bombay is from Akron, Ohio. So let's
Akron, Ohio. I think that's where LeBron is from. You ever heard of that guy? LeBron?
Yeah, he lives with us now. He came to the best coast.
Yep.
That's right.
Well, he's only there temporarily for your weather.
Yeah,
that's right. His checks.
And in Hollywood.
That's right.
That's right. All right, Ohio representing. Hey, I feel like I need to make a public apology because a couple podcast episodes ago, I really said nothing good comes out of Ohio.
I know.
What the heck, man? All I got after that podcast came out was a single text message that said, "Ouch, that hurt," from you, and nothing else.
And then you called me, and I ghosted you. I was like, "I'm not answering." Nope, not answering.
I called him because I felt bad. I was like, I shouldn't have put him down so bad.
I was like, the one time I actually watch your podcast, and you hate on me. What the heck?
That's right. Man? Well, it happens every episode. You just don't watch them. So
that's okay. True.
I thought we were going to get a laundromat diss track coming.
Well, there might be. I've got a couple raps out there on the internet if you want to go digging for them. You can find them.
Wow.
That's true, actually. Good luck.
Hey, everyone in the chat, do me a favor. This is supposed to be streaming on all the Jordan's platforms and all of mine. So if you guys are following on like any of my on my platform, just let me know because I'm curious if it's working. If it's not, there's nothing we can do at this point. But hopefully a few of you are on either our YouTube, LinkedIn, or our Facebook. pages. If you are following on those, just let me know so we know it's working.
Yeah. Awesome.
Anyway.
That'd be helpful. Welcome, Curtis in Houston. We've got LA. Dino says rawr. Scary, man. That's scary. Josh is in Kansas City. Philadelphia representing. Rasul, what's going on? Akron already. Brooklyn, St. Louis. We're all over the place. DC,
Hollywood.
Jacksonville. Representing Orange County. Stephanie, you and me. I'm in Orange County, California. Over here too. Reading, Pennsylvania. Awesome. Yeah, hit the like button. That's what I like. Way to help us out there.
Yes,
Jersey, Hollywood,
sure.
Florida.
Subscribe, follow,
subscribe,
share.
leave comment, all those things.
Super chat.
Yeah, that's right. Madison, where are you tuning in from?
I am tuning in from Charlotte, North Carolina, the only Queen City that I know. I don't know about you, Dave.
I've always wondered about that. How there are 8 different Queen cities. People ask me that because of Queen City Laundry. They're like, "Are you guys like the original Queen City?" I'm like, I don't think any of us have any idea where that came from. There's like 8 of us. We're all the Queen City. We don't have the ocean, so we got to argue over something else. We're like, "Oh yeah, well we have the ocean," and we're all like, "Yeah, shut up." We have palm trees, a beautiful weather, and.
Hey, Madison, do you know Sherneal Williams, also from North Carolina?
I don't. Well, listen, she's got to tell me what city she's from.
You guys all know each other? You're all in North Carolina?
Yes, all Southerners know each other. Hey, y'all.
Yeah. Minneapolis, speaking of Southerners, I don't know. They're in the Northerners are also here. And Marlboro, Maryland. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Super excited. Okay. This Q&A can be great. We can just kind of bounce around and just make fun of each other for an hour. Or if you have questions, get them in the chat. We can start answering laundromat questions if you want to. Otherwise, listen, Dave Madison and I can just go for days on our own. We don't even need your help.
I could ask y'all a billion questions. Since I'm still a laundromat baby, I could ask y'all all the questions that everybody in here already has in their head but doesn't want to put in the chat.
All right. So Madison's going to start asking questions. If you would like to rescue us, get your questions in the chat so that we can cut Madison off at some point.
Otherwise, this is just going to turn into a Madison Anderson coaching call.
I know, dude. She's getting like this is like, we've never done a coaching call together.
I know. Hey, man, there might be a business opportunity in there somewhere.
That's right. That's right.
I'm not opposed. Just saying.
Yeah.
Me either.
Get your super chats in. Me and Jordan will both answer.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Madison, you want to hit us with our first question?
Yes. Best way to approach owners to buy: letters, walking into the store, finding their numbers and calling. Ooh, not the stalker. Which way is the best way to get in touch with the owners to buy their laundromat?
I guess I'll go first since Jordan's nodding his head.
Yes.
I actually think the best way, I guess we can quantify best, but I think the most efficient way to do it is through a distributor. It's easier said than done, but if you have a relationship or you build a relationship with a distributor and you can get them to be in your court, meaning they're rooting for you, they know you're legit, you're not a tire kicker, you're really going to do something in this industry, you're serious, which is easier said than done. If you can do that, their network will expand and open up to you. And distributors, whether people know this or not, especially the best distributors, they get leads every day. And if you've ever gone from being not in the industry to being in the industry, when you become an owner, you immediately start getting leads just by nature of you being in the industry. Well, distributors are that usually times 5 or 10 because they have a Rolodex. They have a customer list of customers. And a lot of times when laundromat owners decide to sell their business, they don't know what to do. And so the first thing they do is call their distributor. And their distributor's like, well, okay, your store's over on the west side of Cincinnati. Okay, I know 6 customers over there that are looking to develop on the west side of Cincinnati. And a lot of times they'll put you in touch with them. Now, sometimes they'll want to broker that deal and they'll want a little cut of the commission or whatever. And you can decide if you want to do that or not. But I think that's the best way to do it. Probably not the most efficient way to do it. Probably the most efficient way to do it is to send out letters. Walking in the stores can be effective, but I'm not sure it's super efficient time-wise. I would agree with Madison. I think she was talking about calling them. If you just randomly call them, I'd say your likelihood of success is probably pretty close to 0. stalker, I think is the word she used. And yeah, somebody called my store. They would not be getting me. In fact, somebody just tried the other day. And my team is pretty bulletproof when it comes to preventing me.
I was the one who tried to buy your store. Yeah.
I told you to quit calling me after you called me names. So just saying. So that's what I would say. Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Dino says Rar brought up one point that I wanted to make on because I think distributors can be a great way. Brokers obviously could be a great way to get in touch with owners. The downside to the distributor thing is distributors make money by selling equipment, right? And so a lot of times those laundromats that they're going to bring to you are ones that are going to need equipment. And in order to get that deal, you're going to need to buy the equipment through them. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing or a bad deal. It's just something to be aware of in that process. But I think that's a great way to go. I do a lot. I have a lot of consulting calls, coaching calls, or whatever. And a lot of my consulting clients are finding success sending letters. They're getting off-market leads that are turning into laundromats that they're purchasing. And that's all over the country. If you've been looking for laundromats for any bit of time now, and you're trying to go through like a broker or sometimes even distributors, one very common thing that I'm hearing all over the place across the board is that brokers are not calling back or they're not emailing back. And so while Madison is kind of joking about the stalker thing with the owners, when it comes to a broker, if you want to get that deal in this market today, a lot of times you got to become a little bit of a stalker of that broker and hit them through their email, through their phone, show up at their kid's school, hold somebody hostage, something like that.
Let's not send these people to jail, please.
Don't do that. But you've gotta like squeaky wheel gets the oil. You got to make yourself heard in those situations. So, I mean, like Dave said, best could mean a whole lot of different things, but effective right now is sending letters and going through brokers and all that too.
Yeah, I would agree. That's the most efficient way to do it. And if I could add something, I get probably dozens of letters every week or every month, probably to my stores. And most of them are from brokers. And they don't say they're brokers. They pretend to be interested in my store or something. And I'd be willing to pay $2 million for your store when it's worth $2 or whatever, it's like silly. So one of the things I always recommend with the letters is handwrite a letter, introduce yourself. And I start the sentence with, I am not a business broker. Now, of course, a business broker could lie, but I always start with that. And I like to put a picture of me and my wife in it. Now, this is years ago. I don't really do this anymore because I get enough leads.
I was going to say, don't put a picture of you in it. That's not going to do any favors.
Well, I mean, Carla.
Carla, that's fine. Carla and the kids, and maybe if you're like in the background, but a little blurry.
Right. But when I would do that back in the day, I liked to make it personal so that they knew I was a real person. And the odds of them responding to an email or a call or whatever are higher probability. I actually know quite a few coaching clients that have pretty good luck too with just walking into a store and trying to catch the owner there, whether it's fixing washers or dryers. There's definitely an art to that I don't have time to go into on this. But so don't just walk in and be like, hey, I want to buy your store. You should sell me your store. I always say just make contact and then try to arrange a way to have coffee or take them out to their favorite restaurant or whatever and just tell them you want to pick their brain. Don't just start aggressively by saying I want to buy your store or something like that. So just a few little tips and tricks. I don't know that I would try calling brokers for sure. Harassing brokers, absolutely. I don't know that I would try those tactics on an owner though, because it would definitely turn me off.
I have a follow-up question to the distributors. Where do you find good distributors? Do you guys have a list in either of y'all's communities, or is there a list that we can find?
I do have a list of all of the brokers, all of them. And they were on my website, and then I got a new website and they didn't transfer that page. So I need to transfer that page over, but I do have a list of all of them that's searchable by state, maybe zip code, something like that. So I'm going to, because when you asked that question, I was like, oh yeah, that never got transferred over. So I'm going to get that transferred over. So if you're, on the email list, look out for an email and I'll send that over. But I mean, you could just Google Speed Queen distributor, Hips distributor, Dexter distributor, Electrolux distributor near me, and you'll find them. Yeah,
I do want to point one thing out because she said good distributors. I'm not sure that I don't know of anyone. I've considered trying, and I don't even know how I would do it, but I don't know anyone that has a vetted list of distributors. Now, if you just want to know, these are the distributors, this is Dexter in Cincinnati, and this is whatever, those things are not too hard to find. And if you're in a market, I mean, you don't really care what distributors are in LA if you're in Cincinnati, for example. But if you just call the manufacturers, they'll tell you who their local distributor is. And so you just tell them what market you're in, Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever. They'll tell you who their Hipsch distributor is in that market. And a lot of times even send you an email with the information, the address, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, most distributors are not very sophisticated business owners. And I don't mean that as a negative. The best distributors are actually not very good at marketing. And the reason why is they're so good at what they do that their name kind of sells themselves, their reputation precedes them, and they don't need to do marketing. So they don't really do any paid marketing. A lot of times they have an archaic website. And the ironic thing is that's usually a sign of a great distributor because they have so much business that they don't know what to do with it. The people that are doing aggressive marketing and hustling, those are the people that usually either new to the business, which doesn't necessarily mean they're bad, or they're trying to overcome a reputation that is not a great reputation. So it's a little bit backwards in that sense, in a lot of markets. Of course, the bigger markets, you're going to have bigger distributors with bigger infrastructure and things like that too.
Awesome. Question when staying on the distributors. We have Rasul asked, is Dexter the still to?
I think it's a statement.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's saying Dexter is the best.
Take out the. Is Dexter still the go-to brand for machines?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There we go. Listen, this Southern school system, I don't know if it did me justice. All right, we're gonna go to Dr. Digital.
Well, real quick, I wanted to hold on. Because Rasul's question is Dexter the go-to?
I think it is now that I reread it. Yeah, I think it is a question.
And so I mean, Dave, you can jump in on this too. I will say, number one, I'm not sure if they ever were the go-to necessarily. I mean, in some people's minds, yes. But I don't know that it's not an accepted fact that they have ever been the go-to. But in my mind, there's sort of, well, I mean, there's lots of different brands out there. I'd say probably the top three brands are the Alliance brands, which would be Speed Queen and Hipsch, and Dexter and Electrolux. Those are probably the top three brands in the industry in terms of probably sales volume, but also in terms of, I guess, quality and loyalty. Probably, I'd say probably even in that order, be my guess.
Yeah, you're probably right. There's definitely not an accepted. Other than the coin card debate, I'm not sure anything is more controversial than who makes the best equipment and what equipment's bulletproof and will make you a millionaire and won't. And I mean, I subscribe to the philosophy of I think if your equipment makes or breaks you, not that there isn't some that's a little better than others, if your equipment makes or breaks you, I'm not sure what business you're in, because I can tell you that I could be wildly successful with any brand equipment. Now, would some of my expenses be a little higher or a little lower, or some have a little bit better innovation than others, or 450G versus 200G or whatever? Sure, there's pros and cons, touchscreens versus not, and they'll definitely give you a little bit of a leg up. But at the end of the day, if your machines wash and dry clothes, there's, in my opinion, our industry is shifting a lot more towards a service-oriented industry, at least the top of the industry, and your equipment probably isn't going to make or break you. I'm not saying it wouldn't help a little. I would agree with market share. As far as I know, Alliance has over 50% of the market. I don't know that I have data to back that up with, but they're the behemoth by far. I'd say Dexter and Electrolux are probably a close second and third. I don't know that there's definitely a Dexter cult out there, and there's definitely some loyalty from that. But a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of the Dexter cult that's out there in the world is just because they're an ESOP. So if I'm an employee at a company and I'm a part owner in the company, no matter how small of a part, I'm probably going to be a little bit more loyal and promoting of that brand if I actually own equity in the company. So the people that work at Dexter, manufacturers, distributors, et cetera, all kind of have a little piece of that pie, so to speak. And that's going to make them a little bit more, I don't know if loyal is the right word, but it's going to make them a little more outspoken. And so I think that's where that kind of Dexter cult comes from. I personally use Hipsch. I think Alliance has the best innovation and technology in the industry, and I'm not hesitant to say that. But I think most equipment is perfectly fine, and there's other things that will make or break you other than your equipment.
Great. I'm so glad we spent 15 minutes on the first question.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions coming in.
Yes. All right. Next question is I just closed on the first laundromat on Friday. Congratulations. What are some
Whoop.
tips you would give for the first week, month, and etc. to set yourself up for success? Jordan, go first.
Yeah. Okay. I would be glad to go first. So listen, first things first, take care of the basics. That's what I would say. I mean, I don't know the condition of the laundromat that you are, purchasing, but by the end of that first week, month, whatever, it should be in tip top shape, right? So if you're not replacing equipment, you should make sure all equipment is working. That's washers, that's dryers, that's boilers, that's change machines, that's card readers, anything in there that should be working, lights, make it work. Right. And you got to just do whatever you got to do. If it's you fixing stuff up using YouTube videos, do it. If you're bringing in service techs, do it. Whatever you got to do.
Is that your daughter? Evangeline Unicorn? Hi.
Oh,
In the chat?
yes.
I thought it was.
Hey.
I couldn't see the picture very good. Sorry, go ahead.
I've
Hey,
never had a
Evangeline.
fan cheering section. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got a YouTube. Go follow her over there.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
So anything that should be, I was like, what are you talking? Where is she? I wasn't looking at the chat. So anything that can be working should be working at the end of that first week, month, whatever it takes to get everything up and running. That's first things first. You don't want to go through, you don't want to spend any money on marketing, any of that stuff until everything is as it should be. And with that, I mean, that would include doing a deep clean. I actually don't even care if it's a nice, pristine laundromat. You should still do a deep clean. Clean is I just did a podcast interview today with a guy who said he had some very inspiring quote about cleanliness. Oh, he said,
if you want to know what it is, you got to watch the episode.
Yeah, you got to watch the episode 2 weeks from today. No, something about customers care more about cleanliness than they even do about vent prices.
Totally agree.
And so deep clean everything, every little corner, crevice, and then keep it that way, right? The idea is get it to a baseline and then keep it that way or improve it from there, right? So you're fixing everything, you're cleaning everything. If you have employees, it's a really great time to start teaching them your way of doing things, right? Establishing the culture of your business. Hey, I want you to greet every customer that comes in the door. I think the Willafords do like, hey, learn 1 or 3 or whatever new names every single day of customers that come in, right? So start establishing the culture there and observing whether those employees can, if they can, fulfill that responsibility of maintaining that culture, doing what you're asking them. That's how they interact with each other, how they interact with you, how they interact with customers, but also the tasks you have for them. So that's cleaning, that might be processing laundry, whatever that is, right? So those are some of the things. I mean, I could keep going, but I think those are some really good basics to get started. Deep clean, make sure everything works, and start establishing a culture and also a baseline of responsibilities for your employees, how you want them to act. And chances are pretty good that the previous owner had much lower standards than you're going to have because you're here. You've been doing the work, doing the research. You know that in order to have a top performing laundromat, you've got to treat your business like a business, right? And take care of it. So you're here. So chances are your employees are going to need a little bit of help and encouragement, but you also need to be looking to see if they're actually going to be willing to do that. Because sometimes when you ask employees to do more than they have been used to doing, they rebel against that. And that's a good time to invite them to go find another role and to bring somebody else on who's going to be a better fit for that culture. I'll stop there.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, I agree with every bit of that. To go a little bit further, usually what I tell people is focus on operating the store today. So try to learn everything you can about the way that the store runs right now and just status quo. And you might be surprised that I say that, but I don't say that for very long. I just say that because you got to keep the business running. You got to figure out what day the coin machine is going to run empty if you don't fill it, and all the very basic things. Completely agree with the culture. One of the things I try to do is set the tone for the new culture immediately. We're going to do everything the way we do it right now, functionally, but culture-wise, what we teach our team is this is how we do things. This is the Queen City Laundry way. How we do things is this. Do you want to be a we or not? Because there's no negotiation in this. Now, you can offer ideas, and we will talk about those ideas and better ways to do things. Now, obviously, I'm 15 years into the business now and have 4 stores, so we pretty much already know how we do everything, and we just plug in the Queen City Laundry way, kind of like the Williford brothers would in a new store or whatever. But the thing I'll caution you on at kind of the other end of the spectrum is be taking notes, whether it's mental notes, notes in your notes app, or on paper or whatever, of ideas you have. But I actually recommend, unless something is egregious and something is just somebody's just flat out robbing you blind or whatever, right, for time or money or whatever, unless something is egregious, I don't recommend you change anything for 60 days. Just run the business, because you will probably have some really good ideas and some really dumb ideas. And you got to give those time to marinate. Now, once again, I'm assuming you're kind of new to the business. I've been at 15 years. I have a pretty good grasp on the day I buy a store, how we want it run. But I actually think you hit on a great point, Jordan, with the culture, because you can't start too early there. The functionality, the clean, the maintenance, that's another thing I'll hit. Look at the store through the lens of safety. He talked about cleanliness. Look at it through the lens of safetiness. When is the last, and I don't mean being robbed, although that could apply. When's the last time your dryer vents were cleaned? Every store I bought was a fire waiting to happen times 100, right? And I only knew this on my first store, at least, because of my distributor, who was one of my mentors. And they were like, hey, those dryer vents have probably never been cleaned in 30 years. And to give you an idea, we brought somebody in the first week we bought our first store, and they ran a camera up our 8-inch vents, and they were 4-inch vents, which means they had 4 inches of lint. And if you know anything about lint, you know it's a little bit flammable, right? So you talk about a fire waiting to happen. That place could have burned down day one. And that might not have been a bad thing, by the way. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's some early, like, first 90 days, that kind of things. But there's the functionality of just running the business day to day, because you have to learn how they do everything. You can't reinvent the wheel all in day one. Then cleanliness is the next thing, and safety is right there with cleanliness. And while you're doing all things, you're setting a new company culture, a new standard. So, yeah, great stuff.
Yeah. And I don't have that experience of owning a laundromat. However, I do work at a laundromat, and it's kind of like the internship that I never had in college, because I went to school during the pandemic. And I work at it's borderline zombie mat. It's older than I am. And I went into an environment that had no SOPs. It had a previous employee that kind of just did whatever she wanted, and the owner was just there. I guess he owns it as like a tax type of situation. So I would definitely piggyback on you, Dave. Just be intentional about everything that you do in those first few weeks, months, whatever, and don't be afraid to change your SOPs during those beginning sessions. That's what I did at this job, and that's also what I did when I opened my laundry delivery company. I was intentionally trying different things every day so that I can get a good rhythm of everything. Studying what time do customers normally come in, so I should probably get here earlier. This customer has a huge order, so I should probably do X, Y, and Z. So yep, that's my little advice. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, do a lot of observing. And I didn't say this, but I'll throw this in there. On the lint and the dryer fire situation, the other side of that equation is the drains. So check your drains, because that store's drain system has probably never been water jetted out. And you're probably sitting on a flood waiting to happen on the first Sunday that you own the store.
Do that before you close if you can, though.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. For sure. Yeah.
All right. Next question. Lord, y'all are some long-winded people, but I love it. It's great information.
Jordan didn't used to be that way, but then he learned he had to keep up with me. So
I swear it's you.
I'm trying over here.
You two in my lead. Like, I swear. But I love it. I will sit here and listen all day. Anyhow, next question is oh wait, I was about to reread that question. Hello everyone. I am researching the laundry business and listening to all the podcasts concerning as this is our first time in the business. So congratulations on getting into the industry. Your welcome packet will be in the mail soon.
Membership
All
card.
right. Right. There was one about marketing plan. Okay, here we go. I got my first laundromat and we are getting the remaining new machines installed as I listen to this live Q&A.
Hey, all right.
Congrats. Our clientele is 90% Hispanic, many from Mexico. And what is your recommended outreach marketing plan? Mm.
So I'll jump in first on that. So if I understand correctly, you're a new business owner and you want to know what your marketing outreach plan would be. Now, there's many caveats in there. I mean, if it's a turnkey store in a competitive market, I'm going to go in one direction, but I'm going to assume that it's not that. I'm going to assume that it's rough and needs some TLC. So I'm going to go back to the question we answered a minute ago, and I'm going to tell you to do no marketing. Not saying you can't come up with ideas, not saying you can't even come up with a plan. The only things that I would do early on, assuming you have the time and bandwidth, which would be the basics, right? Get a basic website up. If there's not one, make sure the SEO is done. Check your Google My Business listing, or now it's called Google Business Profile. Make sure those things have some pictures on them. The odds that the previous owner did any of that is probably pretty high, especially if it's a rough rundown store. So that organic stuff, that basic stuff that should have been done, I would do that as quickly as you can, just to give it some time to marinate as well. But assuming the store needs some TLC or a renovation or at least your own touch on it, you don't want to be doing any paid marketing because you're probably throwing good money after bad to a certain extent. Now, that doesn't mean you can't, if you have an ambition for that, let's say 6 months from now, doesn't mean you can't be talking to marketing companies and putting together plans and budgets based on certain things. And one of the things that I typically look at, or when I coach people, what I typically recommend is look at your market, because it a lot of times doesn't make a lot of sense if you're in a super competitive market where everybody's bidding up the prices to roll in there with a fairly insignificant marketing budget. Like if you're not going to go big, you might be better off just handling the organic things, because $200 just doesn't go very far. I'm not sure if that's helpful because I don't know a ton about your situation, and that would lend itself to my advice, is knowing more about your market, your competition, and where the business is. But definitely, a lot of people think just because you own a business, you just, that marketing is just throwing a gas on a fire. And man, that's not the case if your business has some warts, and most do.
Jordan.
Did we freeze? I think Jordan froze. Or he's deep in thought. One of the two.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he's deep in thought, but
I think he's enjoying what I said. He's thinking, wow, that was really deep, Dave.
yeah,
That's all right. We don't need Jordan. We don't need him anyway. Let's go. Let's get another one, Madison. What are your thoughts? You're a marketing person. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I feel like if what was your name? Let's see. Your name was JC. If you're past this point of doing all of the beginner things right, and they're done, I would say get in people's faces. Either let that be like you personally getting in everybody's face at in the grocery stores or wherever your clientele is, or you could be sending out letters, putting letters on doors, flyers everywhere. Make sure they're in Spanish. Since 90% of your clientele is Hispanic, make sure it's in a language that they can read. And yeah, that's what I would say. I'm also a baby marketer. Since I went to school in the pandemic, it did not do much for me. I'm learning as I go.
Yeah, no, I get it. It looks like they did add areas mostly well used.
Okay.
Mostly well used. I'm not sure what that means. Non-attended laundromats. Maybe just in general, they're saying that's their competition. But what I believe in marketing, whether you're new or a veteran in the business, is I firmly believe if you're going to have a significant budget for paid marketing, you should be focusing on your market differentiators, meaning things that make you different. What makes you special? Now you can advertise your segment, meaning we're a laundromat, we're here, and this is what we do, and we do delivery, or we have self-serve, or we have 450G, or we have air conditioning, or whatever. But I like to focus my marketing budget on the things that make me different than my competitors, because most people that need a laundromat, whether it's drop off, dry cleaning, delivery, or whatever, they typically, for the most part, know that they need those services. What I like to do is to sell to them why they should use us versus our competitors. You can do that organically. You can do that, with paid advertisement. There's a lot of different, but I love what you said about word of mouth medicine, because I'll tell you, man, especially if you're connected in your community and you have a big network or a big family, or you go to a large church or whatever, man, shout it from the mountaintops that you bought that little laundromat up the road, and be proud of it, even if it's a dump. And be like, yeah, I know it's a dump, but it ain't going to stay a dump, because me and Carla bought it, and we're going to turn it into, and I did that from day one, not even really realizing that was a smart thing to do. I just was proud. I was proud of that crappy little laundromat I owned. So yeah, the word of mouth is a powerful thing. And if you share with your network that, and they want to support you, your friends, family, like I said, friends at church, whatever, odds are a good portion of your network is rooting for you. And especially in the beginning, they'll be rooting for you. Now, if you reach a certain level of success, a lot of them will stop rooting for you and get a little jealous. That's a different conversation for a different day. But yeah, plug into those people, ask them to tell. If you have a friend that is well connected in the community, maybe they're a real estate agent, or they're very philanthropic or something like that, ask them to share the word. If they're a real estate agent, hey, is there any way we could co-brand a postcard that you send out? And I'll cut 10% of your costs. I'll pay 10% and you pay the 90%, where they've been paying 100. There's a lot of little organic things like that you can do. But I'll just caution you to not do too much marketing too quickly, because the one thing you don't want to do is drive new customers into a facility and have a bad experience. It's better to wait 3, 6, even 12 months if needed, to get them in your store when there's something that you can be proud of and they're going to have at least a good experience. So I did think it was funny. Alex said I made Jordan quit. Alex, I think you're right. I think I did. We've been friends for 3 or 4 years now, and that's how. If you want to know Jordan's breaking point, it's apparently the 3 to 4 year mark.
Oh my gosh! All right, next question. This is an easy one. Are top loaders a thing of the past?
Alex said, "Remember that time?" Sorry, I'm hijacking the show now, Madison. Remember that time Dave gave Jordan such a good answer that Jordan quit his own show? That was great. Yeah. It's like a Chris Farley kind of thing, if you know that reference. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
All right. My question, or an audience member's question, was, are top loaders a thing of the past? And I'm going to say yes. In the laundromat that I work at, we have about 22 top loaders, and 4 of them are not out of order. So take that.
Yeah. I don't, I don't know if they are a thing of the past. They certainly will be a thing of the past. I think it's, anytime any industry evolves through, let's call it technology for whatever, I don't know what category to put it in, innovation, whatever, there's always a evolution that happens. Oh, now you decided to come back? That's what's happening here? Okay, first thing I
heard that, Alex.
I was gonna say, first thing I want you to do is read the comments. Okay, so you better.
I don't know what happened. My internet just kicked me out and wouldn't let me back in. But I saw the chat still going. And Alex, you're in the doghouse right now, buddy.
I forget what I was even saying now. What was my point?
Top loader. We're talking top loaders.
Oh, top loaders. Yeah. So what I would say to that is, we are in my opinion, we are in the middle. I don't know if middle. We are in maybe the end of an evolution of the top loaders being functional and valuable for a retail laundromat in most environments. Do they have a purpose in residential or even apartment laundries? Yeah, probably stick around a little longer in those areas. But I think our innovation for what I call truly commercial grade equipment, which I don't believe even a truly commercial grade top loader is really commercial grade equipment for a laundromat anymore. I think we're at the end of that cycle. That's my opinion. And I would throw that, that evolution in there with even payment systems like coins. Are we at the end of the coins? No, I don't think so. Are we probably somewhere in the middle? Yeah, we probably are. Coins are for sure on their way out. And I say that as someone that, still uses dollar coins to this day, but I'll acknowledge that. The question is, when is that going to happen? That could be 10 years from now. It could be 30 years from now. It could be 2 years from now. But yeah, the days of top loaders are quickly fading for sure.
Yeah. And I'm gonna
Concur.
make this song out to the top loaders. So we've come to the end of the road.
There you go. She said she was
We
going
were
to give us some
promised.
bars.
Yeah, we were promised some bars and we got them.
That's
I
right.
love it. Way to deliver, Madison.
That's right.
Thank you. All right. Jordan, did you want to comment on the top loaders?
Nope. They dying.
They dying.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree with what Dave said. I don't think it needs any more
Of course you
comment.
do.
We got a lot of questions. Let's keep it rolling. Of course.
Yeah, man.
All
We're
right.
already 40 minutes into
I
this. And
know.
Jordan
We gotta
hadn't got to
we
talk
gotta
yet.
move, man. We gotta move.
All right. What advice do you have as far as advertising for a solo mobile wash and fold? I have found that it is very competitive in my area. You got to get out in people's faces, go to the networking events, join the Chamber of Commerce, get in those Facebook groups, do all the free things. I'm sure, I don't know if Chamber of Commerce is free. At least one meeting is free, I'm sure. But do all of the free stuff first, so that you can get in people's faces. Because if it's extremely competitive, I'm sure that those owner and operators are not going to get in these people's face physically. They're probably doing it digitally. I will say that's kind of that's advice for people that have more time than money. Of course, if you have more money than time, then you just you got to thug it out in the ring with those competitive dollars, because it's atrocious out here when it does come to digital marketing, paid digital marketing. But what is y'all's advice?
You gotta
Alex is still going over here. I think we shouldn't stop feeding the beast.
Alex, you're dead to me. I no longer see your comments. I think you need to assess kind of where your advantage is, right? Like you said, some people their advantage is and I say that in all aspects of it, right? Some people, they have, like you were saying, more money than time. Some people have more time than money. Some people have a great network. So leverage that where your strengths are. But I mean, listen, it's eventually going to come down to kind of going back to your first, week to month to 90 days or whatever of your laundromat, right? It's like, you can advertise or you can network or you can promote your service all you want, but if you're not delivering a wow experience, you need to wow. You have to wow. Like that's where the advantage is coming. You have to wow people.
Mm-hmm.
If you wow them, they will tell other people. If you wow them, they will continue to come back. If you wow them, you will win, right? So come up with ways to wow. And that might be investing more money into into adding lavender into the bags, or I don't know,
Okay,
whatever
Waleed. That's a tip from Waleed.
Waleed, or whatever it is. It might be that, but it might just be, we're Chick-fil-A. We're going to be exceptionally obnoxiously polite and, whatever, just wow people. If you wow them, you will stand out, you will win. Eventually, there's lots of tactical things that you can do, but it comes down to the tactical things will only work if you wow the people.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm gonna double dip on this other question here about Poplin and how do we compete with Poplin. So I think these answers from me kind of go one and the same. I don't worry about Poplin at all, and the reason I don't worry about Poplin at all is the same reason I don't worry about the commodity mindseted average laundromat, or what I call plain Jane laundromat up the road from me. The reason is they're not in the same industry I'm in. They may think they are. They may think they're in the same industry as me, but they're not. And it's kind of what Jordan was just saying. Wow them. Focus on quality. Focus on service. Focus on execution, repeatability, playing the long game, market differentiators. What makes you different than them? If Poplin is a big, huge national brand with a big marketing budget, guess what you want to be? You want to be what you are, which is family owned and operated. I live right here in your community, right? We all know, I assume everybody knows this, but if you don't, Poplin farms out their orders to a million different people, right? And some of them are rock stars, and they'll, looks like beautiful little Instagram with pink bows on it when they're finished. But the reality is most of them aren't like that, right? That's the little Susie Q mom who is just a perfectionist and type A. But every time they put in an order with Poplin, they're going to get a very different experience. And majority of those experiences are on the lower end because that is a commodity mindset. They're not getting paid much. They're rushing through it. They don't care about quality, or they should, but they probably don't care as much about quality. On the other end of the spectrum, they don't have a brand, right? But I have a brand. So my team is focused on delivering and execution and repeatability and scalability and delivering a consistent product every time. So in Cincinnati, Poplin certainly is a quote unquote competitor of ours. We're charging $2.49 a pound. They're charging $1 a pound, and we are growing faster now than ever before. Not because we have a bigger marketing budget than them. We certainly have a marketing budget, but I'm sure it doesn't compare to Poplin. But we are absolutely smoking their butts. So are there people out there that just want the cheapest laundry service in the world and are going to go to Poplin because they're literally 75% cheaper than me? For sure. But the way I always look at that is that's not my customer anyways. Like my avatar, who I'm here to serve, is not that low quality, whether it's, once again, self-serve and a plain Jane laundromat or whatever. We're focusing on being a boutique, high-end, high-quality service. But the thing I'll tell you is that you don't have to run, my kind of business. You don't have to do what I do. But know who you are and know who your ideal avatar is, and make sure you build your business model around serving them. When we try to be all things to all people, we end up being nothing to no one. And don't ever forget that, because if you're just trying to be everything to everyone, you're never going to succeed in that model. So I think that's the most important thing you can do. And honestly, Poplin can't compete with that. It's not that they won't, it's that they can't. So that's what I teach people to do. That's what we do.
And that's on period in my Gen Z language. Okay. All right.
I just found out the other day that we started over again, and there's now a Gen A. I was like, wait, Gen A, really?
Yeah, Gen Alpha. I have one of those.
I think it might be our kids, Jordan. I think our kids are Gen A. And I was like, wait, we started over? We ran out of letters? Really?
Ran out of letters,
cool,
man.
I know. It's like back to the beginning. So anyway.
Yes. All right, next question. Oh, it's not a question, but interesting. Oh, you answered that, Jordan. Anyone notice Tide is running TV spots that take place in laundromats? Interesting.
Yeah. All I said in the comments, just in case you're on a different platform, all I said in the comments was I've seen that, but they've also started doing franchises, so I'm sure there's some connection there where they're laying the groundwork. And honestly, not that I'm necessarily worried about Tide franchises kind of taking over the industry, but I'll just use it as a pedestal here to just say, hey, listen, laundromat owners, we have got to keep an eye on what's happening out there, and we have got to take care of our own businesses here. The reason Tide can even come in and do this is because we have not taken care of our businesses, and we have not taken care of ourselves. And it's left a door open, right, for these big corporations to come in and try to take our business. So it's time for us to up our game. This is why we do what we're doing. Both right. Dave's Laundromat Millionaire platform, Laundromat Resource platform, Waleed's platform, Williford Brother, all of these people who have these platforms, the reason we do it is because we want to slam the door shut on, no, we're stepping up and we're going to take care of our own industry here. And that goes with Tide. I've been harping on for a long time. We need to be careful about who we're sending our data to, like manufacturers and stuff. We've got to be careful about all this stuff. We've got to mind our businesses so that our businesses have a future. And if we don't take care of it, somebody's going to come in and take care of it for us.
I talk about it all the time, and people don't really care for the term, but I can't think of a better one. And I'm not suggesting that I or anyone else in the industry is perfect, because that doesn't exist. But I use the word uncompetable, and maybe this is just how I frame it in my mind and how I breathe it into life, so to speak. But I want to do everything in my power to make sure that if anyone, I don't care if it's Jordan, Madison, or Tide, puts in a laundromat across the street from me, the only thing they can do is match me. They can't outcompete me in any aspect of my business, certainly my overall value proposition, but any individual category. Now, that's just how I run my business. It's why I haven't expanded as fast as some people in the industry. I still have 4 stores, whether it's ozone or direct injection or touch screens, and, even our team and the investment we've made in our team. Now, that's not always possible. And I'll fully acknowledge, when I got in the business in 2010, if Tide built a laundromat across the street from me, I would have been smoked. And if they did it in 15 or even 20, I probably would have been smoked. But I've had that mentality since day one. Since 2010, when I got in the industry, it was how much better can I do things tomorrow than I did today? And how fast can I get there with reasonable risk? I don't want to over leverage myself or increase, try to move too fast. Those aren't healthy to do sometimes either. But I think that's the mentality that every business owner should have, whether you're in Podunk, Arkansas, or New York City and LA, the biggest markets in the country. I think that's our mentality. And if we don't do that, then you are inviting them to come in and outcompete you because you are leaving a hole in the market for them to do that. Now, where you're starting at and what your capital position is and what you can reasonably accomplish in a year or two period of time, that's a different conversation. But I think that's how we should approach our business every day. And if you do that, then everything else will hopefully take care of itself.
That was great.
But
That was heat.
I sure am glad that I had that mentality 15 years ago, because it took me a solid 10 or 11 or 12 to be able to compete with half of y'all in the industry, because I definitely started at the bottom. But that should be our mindset every day. So whoever's listening and watching or recording, whatever it is in the future, man, live every day. For that matter, this applies to your family too. This is a little bit tacky, but I heard somebody say a long time ago, treat your spouse every day like someone's coming to try to get them to cheat with them. And I was like, that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But at the same time, like, make your marriage bulletproof, make your marriage uncompetable, where she would never commit it, or he would never consider cheating on you because they realize how great they have it. Make your marriage uncompetable, right? So I don't know, maybe a terrible analogy, but you get the idea.
Are you kidding me? That was great. If I had a soundboard, I would be like,
come on, Jordan.
I got
blow the dust off your wallet.
No.
Oh my God.
Oh, here we go.
You're fired.
Oh, no. No, I got nothing.
I got birds chirping.
Petition to have Jordan
I got one more.
fired from Laundromat Resource.
I need some applause. I didn't know I didn't have applause.
No.
Lord. Anyhow,
anyway,
next question. Yes.
I thought that was great, by the way.
I do too.
Rare, great moment for you right there.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, next question. I'm looking to buy a laundromat, but the machines are 18 years old. They look great, but I'm concerned how this would affect the multiply I buy for the laundromat. Any advice for Aaron?
Go ahead, Jordan. I just talked a lot.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's a conundrum for a lot of people right now. I mean, there's a whole lot of it depends here. It depends on if that laundromat's making money right now. If so, how much money that laundromat's making, what your financial position is, what the demographics are, so you can see, how much business there is potentially for that laundromat to make, what pricing is right now for the laundromat to see if there's room to improve that pricing. So there's a whole lot of things that go into this, but it all kind of comes down to math, and the math has to math, right? And the difficulty is there's some assumptions you need to make in that math, and that's what'll make or break your equations. But, the ultimate question is, if I invest the money, X amount of dollars, probably a big number, whatever it is, at X percent, if you're going to finance it, which is, again, a big number right now, can I at least meet or exceed that payment because of those new machines in increased business? And if the answer is yes, then it probably makes sense to move forward with that laundromat and to retool it. If the answer is no, then you've got some other questions to ask, like, what kind of condition are these 18-year-old machines in? Have they been kept well and only run at 1 turn per day? Or have they been doing 8 turns per day and they're super worn out? Or they've been doing 2.5, 3 turns per day, but they just haven't been cared for. So there's a lot of questions to ask here, but I think your hesitancy is a good one, because it's telling you there needs to be more investigation. And those are some of the things that I think you need to investigate before you can make a decision on how it's going to affect a valuation multiple, based solely on the equipment 18 years old, which, so everybody knows, that's towards the upper end of the life of the machine. So they probably need to be replaced. If not right away, then pretty soon. So that's what I'd say. You want to add anything to that?
I don't have a whole lot to add to that, but I think ultimately they're asking the question regarding the multiple. So I don't know if it's a literal answer, but as Jordan said, I mean, 18 years is certainly near, if not at the end of the life cycle. If these are top loaders, you're way beyond that. If these are 60-pound, Alliance brand machines, then you probably got, 5, 6, 7 years left in them. But turns per day matter, maintenance matters, all the things Jordan talked about. But generally speaking, because I know we're running out of time and we have a bunch of other questions we want to get to, as a general rule of thumb, that would definitely be towards the lower end of the multiple. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't other factors that maybe elevate that multiple, but I can tell you the equipment is a big, big part of that multiple for sure. So you probably should be in the 1 to 2 category. You certainly shouldn't be paying in the 4 to 6 category of NOI, as an example. I think that's ultimately what they were asking, but there are a lot of factors there for sure. But yeah, you need to factor in the capital expenditures of replacing all that equipment when you value it.
And I'll just say, just based on, I mean, I talk to people all over the country pretty much every day trying to buy laundromats, and I'll just say that a lot of sellers and brokers, I'm not seeing a whole lot of 1 to 2 multiples out there.
Mm-hmm.
So even though that's probably what they're worth, you're going to have to make a decision on
Right now,
that
yep.
at some point. And I'm seeing like low ends of 4 a lot of times and higher ends around 6, 5.5 to 6. So again, it's just math, right? It's just math. Can you pay 4X and have to replace equipment? I mean, you gotta dig into some of those things I was talking about to decide that.
Yeah, for sure. I'd rather you walk away from 10 deals than close one that doesn't work. So that's ultimately, I mean, if you determine 4X is the only way you're going to buy this store, then your choice is real simple. You're going to pay 4X or you're going to walk away. And I would argue most of the time you're going to be better off walking away. But as Jordan talked about with the math, if you can math it out and say it's going to cost me $500,000 to replace all that equipment. Okay, well, if you pay 4X of NOI, and NOI is $100,000, so you pay $400,000 for the store. If you pay $900,000 for the store, is this a viable business model for you? What's your ROI going to be? That's the math he's referring to. But just because you're going to pay 4, but you should be paying 1 or 2, maybe relative to the market and COVID and all these different things that are happening right now, nothing wrong with that. But once again, does the math? Because it's not going to change the fact of how much you pay for the equipment and how quick it needs to be replaced just because you paid 4 instead of 2. And that's what you have to be careful with. That's where people get themselves in really big trouble. And that's why I say I'd rather you look at 20 deals and turn down 19 of them. And maybe it takes you 2 years longer to get into the industry. But my buddy Chris Mihalik says all the time, that first store, you can't hit a single or a double. You got to make sure you hit a home run on that first deal. And you'll have a cash flowing asset that you purchase at the right valuation, and you're able to run and it's able to thrive. And then you can leverage that into multiple more locations. Man, you hit a single or God forbid strikeout on that first deal, you're probably looking at a solid decade of working for free just to dig yourself out of the hole. And I don't want that for you.
I will say, as somebody who bought a bad deal, I would rather walk away from 9 great deals or 10 great deals.
Totally agree.
Than buy one, bad one.
Be patient.
Buy bad, it's bad. I mean, that's why that's literally the reason I started Laundromat Resource, because I bought a bad deal and it was a nightmare to get out of.
Well, Jordan, you and I have shared this more than once, and part of mine was luck and part of mine was a different market than yours. You're in a very competitive market where I'm really not in Cincinnati, but we entered the market at 2 ends of the spectrum. And I, had a very, very different path and experience than you did. Now, we're both ended up here today successful, but man, did you pay a price, right, for that? And you've been very transparent about that. And it's been, I wouldn't say all roses. I had to work hard and delay gratification, but my journey's been quite a bit different than yours. And the ironic thing is, I've never asked you this question, but the ironic thing is I think you entered the business much more capitalized than I did, like a much better financial situation than I did. But yet you had a worse path to get to where we both sit today. And that, as far as I can tell, obviously the market is a factor, but a big part of that is just how we entered the industry. So We're both cautioning you from 2 ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've got time for like 2 more, maybe 1 more. Dave's got a roll here, But Madison, bust us out with one or two more.
Oh Lord, y'all done took all this time.
I know there's a
So
ton
we
of
gotta.
questions we didn't get to.
I know. Here's an easy one. Do you weigh the fluff and fold clothes before or after you wash and fold them? I say BOFA. BOAF. Both.
I'll answer that, and I guess I'll let Jordan. So the answer is we weigh all orders at the beginning when we take them in. If there's any discrepancies or issues, then we weigh them at the end. But we do not weigh all orders because we process thousands of pounds a night and turn it around in typically about 18 hours. A team of people, and that's at one location. We have 4 locations. So when you get to scale and volume, it's easier said than done to weigh it every single order on the in and on the out. But any discrepancies, any questions, I think I mixed this tag up with that tag, anything, this bag just doesn't feel right. Like our team is trained at the end of the day, go take an extra 15 seconds. But if you multiply that by hundreds of orders a night, it becomes very cumbersome and very difficult to do for a team of 10 people that works a 7-hour shift and processes 2,500 pounds of laundry. So there is the world of reality as you scale, but definitely in the beginning, when you don't have a lot of volume, if you can do that, you're just going to minimize mistakes and protect your credibility and build trust with people.
Awesome. I can knock a couple out real quick. 2,000 square foot store.
Jordan, do you want to let Dave go so you and me can stay chit chatting?
Yeah, we could just wrap up with the last few. Dave, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good for another 5 minutes or so. I just can't go too far.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, let's get a few.
Let me just knock a couple out real quick that I can just hit. 2,000 square foot store is $1K per month. Good for repairs. I mean, it depends again on how old the equipment is and all that stuff. Best thing you can do is during due diligence, bring a service tech out and have them take a look at the equipment and figure out, what needs this equipment has, what kind of condition it's in. But then you ask for tips for learning to do basic repairs. 2 things. YouTube, you can learn anything on YouTube. That's a great one. The other awesome tip is hire a service tech to come do some repairs and just look over their shoulder while they do it. That's a great way to learn. That's how I learned to do a lot. And then the other one is a lot of times distributors do service schools where they'll teach you actually how to repair equipment and they're free. So go do that too. I thought there was another one I could just rip through real quick. Alex, I'm still ignoring you. Any other questions that we missed here?
Yeah, plenty. But here's one quick one.
Real quick, one more. This is the other one. Trevor asked a question. Why do we discount larger machines? And in terms of, hey, if we're charging 18 cents a pound on smaller machines, then we charge 11 cents a pound on bigger machines. It's because we're not very good at pricing our equipment and we're not confident in our service and in our pricing structure mostly. That'd be my candid opinion. I don't know, Dave, you want to chime in on that?
Well, 11 cents for any machine is insane, first of all. So I don't know if that was just anecdotal or if they were really saying that. Large machines as a per square foot of inventory or not inventory, revenue per square foot are more profitable machines. So the way I always look at it is I want to incentivize my customers. If they bring in 8 loads of laundry, I want to incentivize them financially to use one 80-pound machine. Let's assume 80 pounds actually holds 80 pounds. We know it doesn't, but for the sake of conversation. So I want to incentivize them. I would rather them do that than go use 4 20-pound machines. Now, what's the one scenario where they're still going to use 4 20-pound machines? It's where they want to separate them out into 4 different loads, right? They don't want to mix the machines or the laundry together, and that's fine. Other than that, and one 80-pound machine costs me less money to purchase and less money to run and less square footage than 4 20-pound machines. I also don't want a customer walking in with large volumes of laundry to clog up the few small machines I have. Because I have, in most modernized laundromats, you have more big machines. And guess who's not going to use an 80-pound machine? Somebody that walks in with 20 pounds of laundry. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. We've all seen that happen. It really shouldn't happen, but we all laugh now and know that it does, actually. But we don't really want them to have to do that, right? That's not a good customer experience to go to a laundromat and say, I paid $13 to wash 2 loads of laundry. You'd rather have them right size the machines. So if someone walks in with 80 pounds of laundry, and they're comfortable washing them all in one machine, and we know plenty of people are, then we want to incentivize and motivate them to use the right machines, right? So but the tipping point there is I want to give them a very small financial incentive. So I forget the number he used, but 18 cents a pound to 11 cents a pound is very extreme. I'd like it to be a couple cents a pound difference. So that's the reason I do it.
I've seen that. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
And yeah. And it, I don't like to model myself after the government too much, but I think the government does a pretty good job of incentivizing what they want people to do in this respect. They want us to be business owners. They want us to own real estate. They incentivize it, right? Like we just respond, like, what do you do when you're trying to get your kid to shut up at dinner, right? You give them an iPad. You incentivize them to do what you want them to do, right? And it's just effective, right? And so if you want them to use that higher profitability machine when appropriate, then you're going to incentivize it. But to answer your specific question, it's because whoever's charging 11 cents a pound does not know what they're doing.
Yes, totally.
And they're probably losing money.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Large capacity machines nowadays should be around 15 to 18 cents a pound. Your small capacity machines anywhere from 20 to 25 cents a pound. So
noted.
Awesome.
Raise your prices. How about
Raise your prices. Speaking of
today's price is not yesterday's price.
Right. That's right.
Because today's dollar is not worth yesterday's dollar. That's
come on, inflation.
15%.
Can I
15%?
Can I get an inflation in the chat? Hey, inflation.
Incredible.
For sure.
Well, listen, this has been awesome. I know we jumped through a bunch of questions, and you know, as per usual, we're a little long-winded, but had a really great time. You guys asked a ton of great questions. I don't know if anybody can drop in the chat any grants that can help underserved communities for Tara there. That would be helpful. I don't know of any, but if you know of any, put those in the chat. Guys, listen, this has been awesome. Congrats to the couple of you that have just closed on laundromat deals. That's a huge deal. Welcome to the family. We're super excited. Let any of us know if there's anything we can do to help you out. And for the rest of you guys, if you're looking for your first laundromat, keep on trucking. There are laundromats out there. I know it can be a little frustrating looking right now, but there are laundromats out there for sale. You've just got to find them, and you've got to do a little more work than just sitting around in your underwear on the couch Googling laundromat for sale near me. So that's my underwear couch philosophy, by the way. And so get out there and do it. If you already own laundromats, keep killing it. Keep serving your communities well, but do it smartly. Do it wisely in a way that is building a life that you want to build for yourself. That's why we own these businesses, is to give us the life and the lifestyles that we want to build for ourselves and our families. So keep on doing that and serving people first. You put people first, profits will follow. So that's my philosophy. I know that's Dave's philosophy and Madison's philosophy too. So keep doing that. Dave, awesome to hang out again. We've got to do this again in a shorter amount of time than last time.
Yep. I think we need 90 minutes next time.
Yeah.
2 hours. Y'all need 2 hours minimum.
Awesome.
Man.
Madison.
Appreciate the invite, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. And Madison, thanks for joining us. It's been awesome.
Yep.
It's my pleasure. If y'all want to hear me yappa some more, be sure to follow my journey on the Laundromat Resource Instagram page. You can also ask me tons of questions because I love the chit chat. You can DM me at millionaire.madison on Instagram. I will call you and we will talk laundry all day long, as much as I have in my little coconut head. So be sure you guys follow Dave, follow Jordan, but most importantly, follow your girl.
Awesome. Alex, listen, man, I probably just need a night, let the steam blow over, and I think we'll probably be good tomorrow. So
Alice, just text him and put ouch.
Ouch. Yeah. And then ghost me when I call you back because I feel bad.
That's right.
But
let it set for a while. Let it just
that's right. That's right. I've learned my lesson. It hurt me in my heart. So I learned my lesson.
That's right.
And I will not, now I will make fun of you again, but
yes, you will.
only
You
when you're
will.
there. And not as public. I guess still publicly, but
You should always assume that I'm watching because I
that's
probably
right.
am.
A little creepy, but it's a good philosophy. I like it. Thank you guys. Hopefully you got something good out of that.
Yep.
Dave, tell
It
Carla
was fun.
and the kids I said hey.
Will
And
do. You do the same,
Madison,
man.
tell everybody I said hey over there. And we'll see you guys all next time.
All right.
Good night.
See ya.